surprise to me. I had no idea.
It's so nearby and no one talks about it.
Very little is known about these museums, even local people.
Preserving a piece of Utah history. Hello, I'm Fox 13 News anchor Amy Nay in Salina in central Utah, where one local volunteer has made it his mission to help educate other people about what he says is an important but often unknown piece of Utah history.
It was a program that we probably didn't want to have here, but we welcomed it here.
It was the Great Depression in a remote area of central Utah where the small town of Salina played host to a newly created federal program.
We went from 1933 to 1942.
84-year-old Rodney Rasmussen, a retired school teacher, walking us through the museum where he volunteers.
The CCC camps.
The buildings are what remains of a work camp created under FDR's New Deal in 1933, one of 35 civilian conservation corps sites in the state.
This is a portrait of him when he was 4 years old.
But in 1942, this location, right on the small town's main street, became the site of a German prisoner of war camp, one of 4 in Utah, and the only still teaching visitors about what happened here some 80 years ago.
Like shocking because nobody ever talks about it, you know?
These interviews are from students at Timpview High School in Provo and German exchange students who recently visited the museum.
I was also just so shocked and surprised. I was not aware of any of that.
Yeah, it was just really shocking to hear about it because it was super close to our hometown.
They don't teach it in school, and their parents are probably too young to remember it, most of them anyway. And so they don't hear about it. And some of the older people in town just don't want to talk about it.
The 43 tents with 250 Germans were here for 3 years. Many of the POWs would work in local farms and created fond relationships with the local residents.
Not what Mr. Bertucci did.
But on July 7th, 1945, one guard at the POW camp opened fire on the sleeping POWs, killing 9. Something Rodney, who lived down the road and just 6 years old at the time, remembers vividly.
It awakened us, and my father and I came out on our front porch, and we could hear the shooting and we could hear the cries of the prisoners. But I like to remember the good that happened here for these young men. A lot of times the bad things kind of overshadow it.
It was really cool to see. It's so historically significant, and you really got a sense for what it was probably like.
The last of its kind, and Rodney is the only one giving tours, but he says he is here and open and available. Just give him a call. He says 24/6, not on Sundays, but any other time you'd like to learn a little bit about the history, he'll come on over. In Salina, Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.